welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to be looking at what potential and kinetic energy in energy systems, but we'll be looking at biological and what electrical systems. All right. All right. So as I said, our topic is going to be potential and kinetic energy in energy system. Specifically, our subtopic will be electrical and biological systems. Our lesson objectives will be that by the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe an electrical system using examples, identify the energy conversions in an electrical system, describe a biological system using examples, and identify the energy transfers in a biological system. All right, so a kind of introduction, an energy system is a group of parts that work together to change energy from one form to another. For example, a wind turbine or turbine. So even we human beings, our body can be described as what an energy system or a system because our bodies are interconnected. All right. Now let's look at the systems. We have got electrical system. An electric circuit is what? An electrical system. So take note, an electric system is what? A typical example is the circuit. An electrical circuit is made up of components. We have connecting wire, we have cells, we have bulbs that make up the system. A battery has a chemical energy. Once it is connected to a closed circuit, current flows as charges move. The chemical potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. I repeat that again. A battery has chemical potential energy. Once it is connected to a closed circuit, current flows as charge move. The chemical potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. So let's look at what electrical system. Into brackets, the battery or a shell or a cell. So from the diagram of the electrical circuit, we can see that a cell has chemical potential energy in the cell. So when the cell is connected to a circuit, current flows. The current has kinetic energy. So potential energy is transferred to the kinetic energy when the current flows in a circuit. So you can see that we have got what? Energy conversion here. I repeat that again. When the cell is connected to a circuit and the current is flowing, the current has kinetic energy. So potential energy is transferred to kinetic energy when current flows in a circuit. So initially the current was not flowing. So the potential energy, we were having what? Chemical potential energy sitting there or stored in there. But immediately the current starts to flow, the chemical potential energy is then converted to what? Kinetic energy. So if you are asked what kind of energy transfer or conversion exists in an electrical system, or they give you a peak, then you should just take note. Then we have got what? Potential energy, potential or chemical potential energy changing or converting to what? Kinetic energy. All right. Now let's look at what? The biological systems. Biological systems are energy systems that use biological energy. Living organisms get biological energy from the sun, into bracket plants, or the food that they eat. The food we eat is stored as chemical potential energy. We need energy to move and live. The chemical energy is changed to kinetic energy when we move around and we do work. For example, a horse gets energy from the plant it is. The horse uses the energy to move or pull a what? A car. Now let's look at examples of what? Biological systems. So we have a plant there, then a plant uses the radiant energy. So if you like sunlight, the sun radiant energy, that is the rays from the sun, to make its own food through the process of photosynthesis. The energy from the sun is stored as potential energy in plants, mainly as starch. Okay, have a look at the energy to remind ourselves. So you see the plant, there is water in the soil, the roots are there, so the sunlight is there. So meaning without water, carbon dioxide and light energy, photosynthesis might not even occur. So that is a typical example of the relationship between what plant and sunlight as a biological system. Now let's look at this one also. We have got the impala. When an animal eats, even us, we are first-class animals. When an animal eats the plant, it uses the potential energy in the food which is released during respiration. This is then used by the animal to move and for its life processes. So the potential energy in the food which the animal eats is transferred to kinetic energy. Energy has been transferred from the sun to the potential energy, to the plant, to the animal. Okay, all right. So I've just got a message that somebody said he or she cannot hear me, so I'm going to repeat the biological system. So I'm saying the biological systems are energy systems that use biological energy. Living organisms get biological energy from the sun or the food they eat. The food we eat is stored as a chemical potential energy. We need energy to move and live. The chemical potential energy is changed to kinetic energy when we move around and do work. For example, a horse gets energy from the plants it eats. The horse uses the energy to move or pull a cart. All right, so the pictures you are seeing are examples of biological systems. So we are looking at the relationship between the plant and then the sun. Okay. A plant uses radiant energy from the sun to make its own food through the process of what photosynthesis. You remember we said photosynthesis is the process whereby plants manufacture their own food using carbon dioxide, water, and light. All right. But there must also be what a chlorophyll. All right. So let's go on. Then let's look at the impala. When an animal eats the plant, it uses the potential energy in the food which is released during respiration. This is then used by the animal to move and for all its life processes. So the potential energy in the food which the animal eats is transferred toward the kinetic energy. Energy has been what? Transferred from the sun to the plant to the animal. So we are seeing an impala eats the grass and stores the energy in the muscles. When the impala runs, the stored energy becomes kinetic energy. All right. I guess my voice is a bit better now. All right, so let's proceed. Now, this is another example. When we eat plants or animals, we are able to use the stored potential energy to make our bodies function. Our food provides the input energy for our bodies to work and move. The food contains potential energy. Now, so let's look at the following text. The food we eat. The food we eat gives us energy to move and live. The energy is stored in our bodies as chemical potential energy. We convert the chemical potential energy to kinetic energy when we move or do work. We are we are an example of what? Biological systems. So as I said at the introduction stage. All right. Now Okay. Let me pause. Please, do you guys have any questions so far? Or I must continue. Any questions so far? Okay, so I should continue then. All right. Okay. So now let's look at another biological system. So here you can see that this is a tennis ball player. He's about hitting the ball. He hits the ball. So what is the energy conversion taking place? This flow diagram describes the transfer of energy. So first, there is potential energy in the arm race racket to transform into kinetic energy in the girl's arms as she swings. Then the following transfer to kinetic energy in racket, which is also transferred to kinetic energy in the ball. So you can see that there is a kind of energy conversion. So if this one doesn't get any energy from the food eaten, then it will be very difficult for this one to be able to raise up the racket and even play it. Okay, so I hope you're getting better. All right. Now, so guys, before we move on, I have a question for you. A person running, what are the energy conversion that is taking place? All right, send in your answers before we proceed. Yeah, I'm waiting. I said, when a person is running, what are the energy conversions taking place? So send in your answers. Okay. I said, when a person is running, what are the kind of energy conversions that take place? If this person is running, what are the conversions that takes place? I hope I found that is fine. All right. You must speak to the fact that there was an initial energy. What kind of energy was that? And then now there is another energy. What kind of energy was that? So you have to say, at least when this is done, we can talk about it. But you have to start from where and then when. Nobody, so nobody should say kinetic energy just like that. So I'm waiting for your response, guys. Guys, are you hearing me? All right. Energy conversion that takes place. right. Yes, I can see. Amanda, you can hear. I said, write down the energy conversion that takes place when a person is running. I hope you heard me. Amanda, I hope it's better. Yes, guys, do you have any question to ask now? Or I should proceed? You can still hear. Amanda, I am saying, what are the energy conversions that takes place when a person is running? Energy conversions that takes place when a person is running. All right. All right. Okay. So let's go away from this start. Okay, guys, can we go to the next slide for more activities? Can you hear me now? All right. Sure. So we have been talking about okay. Now this is a very compact. Yeah. So it's saying okay. So this is the question. This is the question. It says describe an electrical system, energy being energy being passed along a food chain is an example of what type of system? Read the following extract and then you answer the following questions. All right, guys. So since you can now hear, please send in your answers So we are looking at describe an electrical system. Energy being passed along a food chain is an example of what type of system. Listen to the reading below and answer the following questions. Tabo and Karabo are getting ready to run an 800 meters race. Tabo was too nervous to eat breakfast and to eat lunch at school. Karabo had a good breakfast and ate her lunch at school during break. Tabo was feeling very tired at the start of the race. Karabo was feeling energetic. Now, the following questions. It says, what do you think will win the race? 2. Why do you think that person, Tabo or Karabo, will win the race? Yes, guys, keep your answers coming. Guys, I can only see Amanda who is sending in her answers, or you are still typing. All right, yeah, keep them coming, Junior. All right. Hope you are enjoying the exercise. Okay, so let's keep on going. All right, guys, should I go to the next slide? All right, that's great. Yes, that's iPhone, that's correct. Uh, the whom, but you must but choose, choose one, choose one. If it Carabo, Carabo or Carabo. Okay, okay. So let's proceed. Okay, so let's look at our answers again. Describe an electrical system. So we're saying an electrical system is a system that is made up of what? Electrical components that convert chemical potential energy into kinetic energy. So point two is a biological what system. Energy being passed along a food chain. So when we are eating food, is what an example of a biological system. Okay, then let's look at the reading of the extract. We one after you read Tabo and Malepe, Tabo and Karabo rather are getting ready to run an 800 meters race along after the school. Tabo was too nervous to eat breakfast and forgot to eat lunch as well at school. Karabo had a good breakfast and ate her lunch at school during break. Tabo was feeling tired at the start of the race. Karabo was feeling energetic and strong. Now, what? How do you answer this? It says, who do you think will win the race, Tabo or Karabo? Yeah, it's gonna be Karabo. Why do you think that person, Karabo or Tabo, will win the race? Now it's gonna be what? Karabo, because Karabo ate breakfast and lunch and has more energy, more chemical energy, potential energy. She will be able to convert the more chemical potential energy into the kinetic energy to help her win the race. Okay, so let's go to question 3. Okay, so let's look at the solution for question 3. These are the solutions for question 3. Let's check them out. A person eating is an example of what type of system? Biological system. A satellite is an example of what type of system? An electrical. Yes, Amanda, you can ask your question. Okay. Are you guys listening? All right, that's great. That's great. Okay, so let's continue. Is this statement true or false? When we eat plants or animals, we are able to use the stored potential energy to make our bodies function. Yes, it's true. Which system allow us to use stored energy when we run? Biological system. Okay. All right. So let's proceed to the next slide if there are no questions. All right. Okay, guys, you are allowed to ask questions for clarification and addition if you have any. Okay, that's great. Let's proceed. Any questions so far? But I can see that today, most of you, your attention is divided. We even have more activities to engage with today. All right, Tiana, you are welcome. All right, so in the absence of further other questions, then our class will come to an end, and then we will see you at the other side of the day. Bye, and see you tomorrow.